Wild Talents, by Charles Hoyfort, Chapter 27Q. One time, spring of 1931, my landlord received some chicks from the country and put them in an enclosure at the end of the yard. They grew, and later I thought it interesting, listening to the first and certain attempts of two of them to crow. It was as interesting as is watching young human males trying to take on grown-up ways. But then I thought of what was ahead, at 4 o'clock, or thereabouts, mornings. I'm a crank about sleeping, because at times I have put in much disagreeable time with insomnia. I worried about this, and I spoke about it. There was not another sound from the two little roosters. At last, months went by. Confirmation. I was a wizard. One day in October, the landlord's son-in-law said to me, "There hasn't been a sound from them since." I tried not to look self-conscious. Said me, "Last May, one day, I was looking at them, and I said, in my own mind, if we lost tenants on account of you, I'll wring your necks." They never crowed again. Again, it's a principle of uncertainty, by which the path of the particle cannot be foretold, and by which there's no knowing who stopped the roosters. Well, we're both, or one of us is, very inferior in matters of magic, according to a story that is told of Madame Blavatsky. The little bird of the cuckoo clock annoyed her. Said she, "Damn that bird." Shut up. The cuckoo never spoke again. By the cultivation of wild talents, I do not mean only the learning of the secret of the man they could not drown, and having the advantage of that ability, at times of shipwreck, of the man they could not confine, so that enormous would be the relief from the messiahs of the legislatures, if nobody could be locked up for failure to keep track of all their laws, of the women they could not touch, so that there could be no more automobile accidents, of myself and the roosters, though just here my landlord's son-in-law will read scornfully, so that all radios can be stopped immediately after breakfast, and all tenors and sopranos forever. Only the secret of burning mansions in England, appearances of wounds on bodies, or of pictures on hailstones, bodies on benches of the Harlem Park, strange explosions, and forced landings of airplanes, and the case of Lizzie Borden. Those are only specializations. If all are only different manifestations of one force, or radioactivity, transmedumization, or whatever, that is the subject for research and experiment that may develop. New triumphs and new disasters, happiness and miseries, a new era in which people will think back, with contempt, or with horror, at our times, unless they start to think a little more keenly of their own affairs. In the presence of the poltergeist girl, who, so far as is now knowable, exerts no force, object smooth. But this is a book of no marvels. In the presence of certain substances, which so far as is now knowable, exert no force, other substances move, or transmute into very different substances. This is a common phenomenon, to which the chemists have given the name catalysis.